Hey, Sherry Lacker here. I am here in front of a passenger train car to show and share with you the story that a lot of you have asked me about. You've seen my mom's video, and when I asked her if she wants to talk about the train story and she says no, well, I'm going to tell you about the story today. So many people keep asking about it. And what it was about is my grandmother passed away, my mom's mom, Beulah, in November of 1964. And they lived in Knoxville. So Mama was about 3 months away from delivering Angie. And so Priscilla and I went with Mama to keep her company and to watch over her. So we were on our way to Knoxville, as I said, and a situation arose with Priscilla. But I'm going to keep you hanging a little bit longer. I'm going to take you inside the passenger train and give you a feel of what it was like back in those days. See you in a minute. This is called the office car. But it could be an area for lounging, somewhat of a club car, or perhaps it simply housed the crews and the upper railroad employees. Here's one, looked like it had a chair, perhaps covering up a, yes, covering up a ladies' room. there's the paper holder. And this one had a convertible bunk and a drop-down bunk. And there's the little light. And you walk down this narrow hall. If you had claustrophobia, I don't think you could live a life on trains. Here's some with drawers underneath, chest of drawers. This might have been like the engineers' quarters and the people that ran the train. They even had a shower in this one with the old hoop plumbing for the shower curtain. And here we have another one. Had a wardrobe. Even got some hangers in there. And it looks like another restroom back there. This must have been the head guy, so it must have been the conductor or the driver. He had a telephone in here. Now, there you can see somebody has been kind enough to put a mirror in there that will show inside what we can't see. And then we come back to what looks like the conference room, or perhaps they did a little bit of everything in here. Perhaps they ate their meals in here, conducted business meetings, all this built-in woodwork. And the designs, even a period proper light, and of course the scenic windows. And back through another door toward the end of the train. Locked doors, and this would have been their equivalent of a galley on an airplane. And you can see this would have been probably the bins for the hot food and drink. And it looks like there's some mechanical stuff in there. And then here's two more chairs this would have been more like what it was in a regular train, having the seats next to each other and face to face like that. The sink. And look at that old stove. My gracious. Everything built in so it wouldn't roll around. You can see the switches to notify or be notified. There's a light set here that you can see that they would have been notified with different colors. Here's another little temporary fold-down seat for someone who needed to sit down back here. This is the back door here. And that's the door that I have on the other side that says office car. But there's the inside of the other part of the galley. So, as we head back to the front, get another shot of these narrow little alleys. And back through the conference room and all these wide bright windows. They even had little doors that shut back and forth to separate the areas. And can you imagine being a conductor? Tickets? Where's your tickets? And back up here to the front, to the drawing room. Thank y'all for joining me. Take a train. Hi there again. So now, as you can see, I'm sitting on the what would have been back then either a chaise or a lounger in a club car or a gathering room on the old trains. Beautiful view out the window. Right now I'm in Collierville, Tennessee, and it's a beautiful, beautiful day. But what I came here to tell you about, in November of 1964, as I said, I was on the train with my mom and Priscilla Presley, and we were accompanying my mother to, unfortunately, the funeral of her mom. And as you've seen through the club car, or if you can imagine having been on a train or a bus, the rows were set up with 2 and 2 seats. Have an aisle in the middle. You get into the club car section and the sleepers and that kind of thing, you get to the one-sided hall. But what happened that night was Priscilla was sitting on the right of me across the aisle, and there was another gentleman sitting with her. And as we rode the train across Tennessee, it was nighttime, and you could feel the lull and kind of rock of the train on the rails. And as the night wore on, Priscilla and this gentleman seemed to strike up camaraderie. And she and he talked for hours. And then I could hear her giggling and, you know, like making jokes, and they were having fun. And my mom could tell that the guy was getting a little overzealous in their flirtations when, you know, it did develop into a flirtation. So Mama was trying to fix it so we could get Priscilla back across the aisle over there, and didn't move fast enough, really. She tried to get the conductor's attention, because when the guy leaned over toward Priscilla like he wanted to kiss her, she, of course, stopped him, and Mama saw that there was a gun in his waistband. And I don't know if it's a waistband or a side holster or a halter holster. But the guy did not want to give up his new friend, so to speak, and turned out he was inebriated. And so my mom called the conductor, and said, listen, this guy is becoming a little much to handle. He, you know, is making overt flirtations and attempts to kiss her, and we need to get this stopped. Now, of course, Mama was in no shape because she was, you know, several months pregnant to do anything on her own. And I guess Priscilla must have been either confused, or because she was so young, you know, she didn't know how to handle a guy that wouldn't take no for an answer. So, ended up, the conductor was called, and he was moved to a different seat by two different men. The guy was drunk, but turned out, ironically, he was a railroad officer. He was a railroad cop, and he was taking that train from one station to another station, and he basically just had too much to drink. But, you know, having that gun on him, you know, that was a mistake on his part. So, anyway, that was the wild ride to Knoxville. And as soon as we come up to the next station, because on that line they would stop at every little town and gully in the road, but at that point he was removed from the train, and we continued on to Knoxville. But it was kind of a, you know, it left an impression on me, and I was like 4 years old at the time, and if a 4-year-old can remember that much detail of it, you know, it had to have been quite an event. So that's the mystery of the train solved. Short story, but hey, that's what happened. I'll see you all later on the next video. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.